I was on the fence about F1 in Las Vegas last year. I was optimistic that the economic impact would outweigh the negatives, but by 2024 I'm pretty certain what my opinion is. Vegas doesn't need F1, and F1 doesn't need Vegas. It's a marriage of inconvenience that seemed like a good idea on the surface, but has turned into a disaster. What's up, guys? Jordan here from Show Me Vegas. Hey, it's mid-October again, and in just over a month, F1 cars are going to be whipping around this corner. This is the intersection of Las Vegas Boulevard and Harmon Avenue, and it's starting to look like a war zone once again. Last year around this time, I took you up and down the strip and showed you all the disruption F1 has caused to Las Vegas, and it was substantial. This year we're going to do something similar, only this time we're going to talk a little bit more about the race and the impact. Who's benefiting from this? Is this any good for Las Vegas, and should it continue into the future? Let's go. Once again, we're going to start right here at the intersection of Las Vegas Boulevard and Harmon Avenue. This time I also hope to go and show you what it looks like down that way. A little bit of the off-strip portions of the track, because that's where a lot of the controversy was last year.
F1, Vegas. In 2023, one of the most popular spectator sports in the world met one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world. It should have been so sweet.
It should have been so sweet, too. But in the end, we f***ed it all up.
Emphasis on the should. But was it? Not really. The inaugural F1 Las Vegas Grand Prix was better known for the controversy than for the race itself. Stick around, because as we walk, we're going to be talking about who's actually benefiting from this and by how much. Just how successful is this Las Vegas and F1 partnership? How is it affecting tourism in Las Vegas, and how might it affect you if you choose to visit during F1 every year?
This is Harmon Avenue, just east of the Strip, and they've already put up the light stands and the walls. You can actually see the fencing over there. This is part of the track where it comes off of the boulevard and heads toward the racing paddock. We're on Harmon Avenue now, just a little bit further east, and this is some of the infrastructure it takes to put on an event like this. This is a bridge that crosses over the track to get into the middle of the loop. This is for emergency vehicles and employees of the casinos that work inside the track on race weekend. These have become a huge point of contention amongst locals. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we go along.
Alright, first things first, in case you've been hiding under a rock somewhere, let me catch you up. F1's return to Las Vegas was announced in 2022 with a ton of fanfare and a promise of riches. Billions of dollars in cash infused into the Vegas economy just for starters. Local officials, including the LVCVA and the Clark County Commission, fell all over themselves welcoming F1 to town. However, it quickly started looking like the old bait and switch, and if you want to learn more about that, don't forget to check out our video from last year, which of course I'll link in the description box below. But the short of the story is that the Las Vegas Grand Prix is committed at a minimum to be put on for at least 3 years, meaning this race will of course happen in 2024 and again in 2025.
The intersection of Harmon and Koval, you can see the track goes right through Harmon here into the racing paddock. We're going to talk a lot in this video about whether or not this race should continue past the initial 3-year term, but this right behind me is why it almost assuredly will. This is the F1 racing paddock. Liberty Media spent more than $500 million constructing this. This is the headquarters of the entire race, and it's rather impressive. Now, you don't have to be a racing fan to find this pretty cool. No matter what you think of F1, it's pretty neat that I'm standing right in the middle of the track right now as it turns and goes through the racing paddock. This is where the start and finish line are, and you can even see the lines on the pavement for the racing grid. Listen, I'm not a fan of F1, but even I think this is pretty cool.
F1, of course, was interested in Vegas because it wanted to attempt to capitalize on its burgeoning popularity in the United States. But what was ever in it for the Las Vegas Valley? Of course, it's always about the dollars, and local officials believed it would be a boon for local businesses. Now, when I say businesses, of course we're talking about the engine that drives the Nevada economy, the casino. It became abundantly clear in just the first year of this event that the casinos were the only ones benefiting, and not even all of them.
So now we're on Koval Lane, just a little bit north of Harmon Avenue, and this is where the race comes back out of the pit area. You see all these luxury skyboxes lining the way. Right here it comes out of the pit area and back out onto Koval Lane. It's impressive what they've built out here, all for just one 3-day race weekend every year. This is the intersection of Koval Lane and Flamingo Road, and this intersection is closed right now because they just started rebuilding this temporary bridge that goes over Koval Lane into the center of the racetrack. This was a huge point of contention last year. Businesses in this area claimed huge loss of income from the race and from this particular bridge. It was up much longer last year. It's going to be constructed this week, and it's supposed to go up in 5 days, and it will stay up until mid-December. Last year, Stage Door Casino and Batista's Hole in the Wall Restaurant, which are right down that way in Flamingo Lane, they filed suit against F1 and Liberty Media, claiming loss of income of more than $1 million because of all this disruption and this bridge in particular. Now this year the bridge has been narrowed from 4 lanes down to 2, and they're going to put it up a lot faster and take it down supposedly a lot faster than they did last year. But it's still going up right now, and as you can see, it's going to be once again a major headache for businesses in this area. Alright, I've walked from Las Vegas Boulevard down Harmon Avenue to Koval, all the way north to Flamingo Road. Now I'm headed toward the back of the horseshoe. This has been quite a bit of work, but hopefully the footage will be worth it. Also, it's October 15th and it's about 90 degrees out here. All right, time to take a little break, take a load off, and talk about F1 a little bit. The economic impact of this race was expected last year to be in the billions of dollars, and it was. By the end of the day, they estimated the economic impact of F1 to Las Vegas to be $1.5 billion. Now, bear with me, I've got some notes here. Of that $1.5 billion, about $884 million of it was visitor spending, $77 million was tax revenue, $88 million of it was infrastructure, that's the paving of the strip, and all of the construction they have to do to make this thing actually into an actual F1 track. But here's where it gets interesting. It was estimated that attendees of F1, that means the people who actually came into town to see the race, spent on average 3.6 times what the average Las Vegas visitor spends. On the surface, that sounds like a semi-impressive number, but when you dig deeper, it's really not that impressive at all. I mean, F1 is a sport for the rich, let's face it. The ticket prices, the ticket packages, all of the VIP experiences around F1 cost thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not more. The race is mostly being attended every year by the affluent, and I would expect personally that the average visitor that's coming to attend the race to spend more than 3.5 times what the average Las Vegas visitor does. $1.5 billion sounds super impressive on the surface, but when you think about it, nearly all of that money was going into just a few pockets. What makes that $1.5 billion figure also less impressive to me is I do not believe that it takes into account all of the disruption that occurred to Las Vegas both before and after the race last year, but it can't possibly capture the disruption to the Las Vegas Strip that occurred almost all of last year and will occur for about 3 months out of this year. They started setting up for this race again in September 2024, and the disruption will continue to the Strip until at least mid-December 2024. That's 3 months of time when people are not coming to Las Vegas like they normally would. Remember, October and November are great times to visit Las Vegas, but I can guarantee you there are people who are deciding not to visit in October and November now because of the F1 race. Will there ever be a reliable way to capture the exact economic impact of that? I highly doubt it, but I can guarantee you, having been here the last 2 years during this time, it's substantial. All right, I've shown you a good chunk of the off-strip construction. It's time now to head to the Las Vegas Strip and show you what it looks like on the Strip. But we're going to start right across the street from here at the Bellagio Fountains.
Without a doubt, the biggest F1 impact to Las Vegas in 2023 was the disruption to the Strip. Las Vegas Boulevard is one of the busiest thoroughfares in the United States, and it is quintessential Las Vegas. In 2023, the Strip was plagued by more than 6 months of high-impact traffic delays, road closures, detours and eyesores, and controversy surrounding race viewing. While the race setup and teardown will take less time in 2024 and future years, the impacts are still huge and will greatly affect anyone visiting the Strip between late September and mid-December every year. What's this mean for you? Well, for starters, you won't be able to freely walk many of the strip sidewalks between Harmon and Sands, and the strip will barely be recognizable from late October to early December.
Alright, quick pit stop before we head over to the fountains. If you thought Old Red would be a great place to watch F1, well, you weren't alone. Old Red is advertising on their website a rail table, which is right here on the 4th floor, for a $5,000 food and beverage minimum on race night. If you want just a balcony seat on the 3rd floor, which is one level below us, $500 food and beverage minimum just for the one seat. Alright, this is the footbridge from Old Red across to Bellagio, and if you watched my video last year or saw any of the pictures, you know, soon they'll be building an entire cage structure across these footbridges, and they'll be putting a film over the glass that prevents people from seeing the race from the footbridges. Now, I understand for sure the cages, that prevents people from throwing things onto the track. That could be extremely dangerous. But if you watched the video last year, you know these things are totally unsightly. They go up and they're up for a few weeks, and it totally ruins the strip experience altogether. Alright, we've made it to the Bellagio fountains, and if there were a face to the disruption that F1 causes to the Las Vegas Strip every year, this would be it right here. The sidewalk in front of the Bellagio closed in mid-September, and it will be closed until mid-December. That's 3 months of one of the most famous sidewalks in the entire United States being closed every year just for a 3-night race weekend. Let's be honest, that sucks. I guess it is important to note that this year the trees that were planted along this sidewalk were not cut down like they were last year. This year they were removed. MGM Resorts says they were in planters so that they could be removed, and they're being stored on site here to be replaced sometime before New Year. Alright, aside from the Bellagio fountains, there's not a lot going on with F1 on the Strip right now, and that's good. This is October 15th. We're still a little ways out. But there is one thing I'm super curious about, and it's partially F1 related, and it's partially just Vegas history related. I've got to go up in front of the Mirage, or I guess now I should call it the Hard Rock, and check that out one more time.
While the 2023 race was expected to be a huge success, the end result was a mixed bag. The race, of course, drew huge crowds, and we've already discussed the economic impact. But as I mentioned, only a small number of parties benefited, namely the casinos. Even then, not all the Strip hotels saw the same benefit. Luxury brands like Wynn, Venetian, and Bellagio were able to attract the high rollers, while parts of the Strip actually saw less business than on the typical weekend. In 2024, hotel rates on the Strip for F1 weekend are far lower than in 2023, and casino execs themselves have already admitted demand is much weaker than expected. In other words, it's only taken 1 year for the chickens to come home to roost, so to speak. Rather than providing a huge boost to Las Vegas tourism, the race has in many ways hurt tourism. Though county leaders and casino executives will never fully admit it, a large part of the F1 effect in Vegas has been negative.
Alright, I made it up here to the Mirage, and like I said, this had more to do with history than it did F1. Although, last year there was a big grandstand right here where the volcano used to sit. Unfortunately, you can't see much of the Mirage anymore from this side of the Strip. Yesterday, from a car, I could get a pretty good view from the other side of the Strip, so I might go over there and try to get a shot. Otherwise, I'm going to go back to the hotel room because the camera and myself are running low on batteries, and we'll talk about F1 up in the hotel room.
Alright, back inside from the Strip, and as you can see, most of the construction that has taken place so far on F1 as of the date of this filming has been off-Strip. They've only just begun to disturb the Strip, but it's coming, and when it does, trust me, you're probably going to want to be away from Center Strip. As you can see right now, I'm downtown at the Golden Nugget, and this is probably one of the best places to stay away from F1 if you want to come to Vegas in October or November. Alright, let's talk subjectively for just a minute. I was on the fence about F1 in Las Vegas last year. I was optimistic that the economic impact would outweigh the negatives, but by 2024 I'm pretty certain what my opinion is. Vegas doesn't need F1, and F1 doesn't need Vegas. It's a marriage of inconvenience that seemed like a good idea on the surface, but has turned into a disaster. At least that's my opinion on it. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about F1 in Las Vegas? I personally wish it would be gone sooner rather than later, and even better if it's just after that initial 3-year agreement. But money talks, especially the money that's been outlaid by F1, more than $500 million invested in infrastructure. It's not likely to end anytime soon, but I wish it would.
Anyway, that's my opinion on the subject. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think about F1 in Las Vegas? Are you excited about it, or do you avoid Las Vegas from the months of September through November because you don't want to be anywhere near the Strip while that's going on? That's it for this one, guys. Thanks as always for watching. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you get notified anytime we drop new content. We'll see you in that next video because there's always more for us to show you on Show Me Vegas.